All right, we are back. So I am at Town Lake again today. Yesterday I was on that side of the park, and today I am on this side. This is the side that ACL is held. So I decided to park on this side just because the parking looked better. Noah decided to stay in the car. He did not want to come. And hold on, I remember now, Noah has showed me how to extend this. Yeah. Okay, here we are. I am learning every day as I do these cringe videos, more and more how to use the technology that I have in my hands. I did not go buy this gimbal. It was my son's, and he was like, "Mom, you need to use it for your stuff." So I was blessed, and he has been, finding grace and patience to teach me how to use this thing. So this is my day 2 of making my videos. I'm excited. Today's the 3rd day of me getting out and getting some cardio in. This is actually the most I've done all year long. Well, not talking about January 2025, but in the past 12 months, this is the most cardio I've done. And I love getting my cardio in. I've always been one to go try to get my daily walks in. It's just something I've been passionate about most of my life. But this past year, let's talk about that. Yeah, I really want to share my frustration with y'all. So I'm going to come clean. And I want to say this is the reason why my revamping the channel came about. So let's take it back to November, 8 weeks ago. So in November, I was really feeling frustrated, and you probably will see it if you go look at one of my first 2 videos, my videos from week 1. Probably the first 2 weeks, I was emotional and just really at a frustrational point in my life, just because the family business is just taking a toll on me now. And it's been nice. We've been doing it for a long time, and like I've said before, I love what we do. I love our dogs. I get great joy. My husband does too. He says he could do it forever. But I just feel like my role is different, because nobody can do my job. My husband can't do it, and my son can't do it. Now, granted, I can't really do his job. I mean, he does have some skin in the game where he can see when something's wrong, so he does a lot of proactive, I don't know if that's the word, proactive. Yeah, so he does a lot of proactive where he keeps all our animals healthy. We keep our vet bills down thanks to Ivan. So I'm very grateful. I would not be able to do this business without him, because what he does is huge. Otherwise my vet bills would be really high if I didn't have him. So he does a lot of proactive work as far as like deworming the dogs and making sure everybody's healthy, and he does injections and he does the shots, and he makes sure to make sure that they're all healthy. But my job, I'm the communications, I'm the marketing, I'm the salesperson, I'm the voice, I'm the face to the business, basically. So I have to keep up with, like I said before, I manage our website, I do photography, I do all the, I do all the pictures, and the pictures are the ones that keep, it's the hook, you have to take you have to take 1,000 pictures to get the perfect picture of your product, so that the client can appreciate your product, right? So when I'm doing photography, on our babies, it takes a lot. It does take a lot. And then when I do the weekly updates, that also takes a lot. And so on that, depending on the season, that will affect my time, and that will affect whether or not, my time management, whether, every season is different. So I am very, very, very happy right now. I'm in a space where we are off season, And because of that, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for this time, because typically we are, balls to the wall, like I said, working nonstop. And me especially, because, my husband, he gets bored. He'll go and do his thing with the animals outside and whatever. And I have my little side hobby with the Yorkies. I love my Yorkies. They're my baby dolls. And I have to do them. I have to keep, I do their feedings, their cleanings, their laundry. I have to do their grooms. Oops, excuse me. So I keep up with their grooming, and I love my Yorkies. I love dressing them up. I like to make them clothes, which I don't always have time to get into that creative space of making clothes for them. I love to doll them up. I love to dress them, do their hair, and that is all very time consuming. And then of course I have their page, and their page is on a whole different account, so they have a different name. They're not on the same account that I have our big dogs on, our muscle dogs. So I've kind of created a lot of work for myself. And so I'll say that, I have one big main hustle, which is our big dogs, and then I have my hobby hustle, which is the Yorkies. And we in the last 3 years, we actually grew our kennel. And I'm sorry, but I just feel like I'm getting in a crowded space here. But hold on, let me go ahead. It is very crowded today. There's a lot of people out here, and it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous day. Anyhow, let me get myself positioned here. That was a bunch of people coming in from behind. Everybody's on the trail. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that in November, let me get back to the point. In November, I just got to this frustrational point, and a breaking point. We're balls to the wall from August. I went to Brazil in July. It was kind of calm in July, so that was nice to get away. And then got back from, we only went for 6 days. We didn't go for very long. But my schedule started filling up at the middle part of August, and if I'm not doing a tour, guests are coming on site. I'm working on the website. I'm doing animal photography. I'm doing pictures. Doing the cleanings, doing all those things. And then our website, we started going into the heavy season at the end of August. And so that's a whole nother topic, working with babies, working with the moms, bringing them, all into the whelping boxes, and dealing with all that between my husband and I and Noah. The schedule just started filling up. And then at the end of, was it September? Yeah, the end of September. Look at this. This is a beautiful spot. I have not been out this way. Check it out. Let me stand right here in the middle. This is downtown, off of Town Lake. This is a gorgeous view. Let me show y'all. Yesterday we were on that side of the water, on that side of the trail. But anyhow, so what I was trying to say is that let me just state this. And this is about my side hustles. My main hustle is the big dogs. That is what, has paid the bills, and it has evolved into a big business for us. So it is truly God sent. We work together as a team. Noah's now 18, and he's stepping up, and he's wanting to help us. But for a long time, it was just Ivan and I. My son Noah was doing little jobs here and there. As a kid, he did what he could, to help us. But so the main hustle is that it's our big dogs. And if you guys are ever thinking about what if you have a passion for animals and you can handle the big dogs, Cane Corso's SEO, all you got to do is just type in your one word, main word is Cane Corso, and everybody is looking for that. It gets 1 million hits a day. So Cane Corsos are hands down an easy sell. But of course, I do my best to screen out. I weed out what I can, the riffraff, because everybody sees a dog on TikTok and they want it, and they don't realize, raising these big breeds it's a lot of work. If you don't have any experience with large breeds, you have no business doing this, unless you're prepared to dedicate yourself to the time that it's going to take to, get through puppy training, get through the puppy year, and, make sure you're feeding them right. And if you have the space, because a lot of people might be living in apartments, and that's not probably necessarily the best setup for raising this breed, right? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just move on to the next subject. So, Yorkies. I started my Yorkies 6 years ago. And like I said, it's been a hobby. It was more of me wanting a lap dog, and I love my Yorkies. Then I wanted to improve the line, and everybody wants a small dog, but not everybody's willing to pay the price. And when I started building out my Yorkie program, I traveled to the top breeders in the country, and I paid heavy. I paid heavy for them as well. And I was looking for a certain look, that baby doll look, and the exotic colors. And the reason why I was looking for that is because I wanted that baby doll look, and that's not cheap. So I started expanding my program probably about 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago I realized, wow, I was in over my head and really strapped with time. I mean, just overworked, and I just thought, what did I do? Wow. But of course I love it. Like I said, I love my baby dolls. They're beautiful. They bring me so much joy. They're my heart. They're my heart of hearts. We got started with the Mastiffs years ago when my husband, when we first had our son. Noah was 3 years old, and my husband would leave all the time. He was always leaving us alone. And at that time, my daughter Jade was probably like 13 years old. And she and I, well, my oldest son, Noah Randon, was already, getting ready to graduate, and he left home to go to college, and so when we, moved out to the ranch, he was in his senior year, and Ivan would leave all the time, and so at that time we had my lap dog, which was what Ivan had first bought us, was our Boston Terrier, and he bought Tara for my daughter, and he said, y'all need a pet. That was our first pet. So anyhow, my main hustle, like I'm saying, is it all started when Noah was 3, and Ivan brought us our first Mastiff, and that was a Neapolitan Mastiff, and that was for protection and security to protect us on the estate, our land, our ranch, because we had several incidences, and that's probably another video I should make, but we had several incidences, and next thing we know, Tara actually got killed, my Boston Terrier, by labs that had some neighboring labs. Wow, that was loud, wasn't it? So we had, check it out. Isn't that a gorgeous view? Beautiful view. So we got started with our first Mastiff, like I was saying, back in 2009. And Noah was 3. I was fearful that these labs were going to come and kill him, because we had most of our fence around our estate fenced off, but I think, there was one portion that was not fenced off, and that was the part that Ivan didn't have time to come build the fence because he was working out of town all the time. So we had a dog, we had Tara, our Boston, and then we had a ranch dog, Diego, and then he shows up with Troy. So we ended up naming Troy, our Neapolitan Mastiff, Troy, because Italian Mastiffs, you want to name them after Greek gods, right? Or, Greek names. So we got Troy, and then, anytime we've ever gotten, an animal, we always try to get it a pair, although we didn't do that for Diego. We never did that for Diego. So with Troy, we always wanted to get him a little girlfriend. So we eventually got Millie, but it didn't work out. Millie ended up attacking our horse. One of the horses that we had. So, and Millie was just a puppy when she did that. She probably was like 9 months or 10 months. So it just, I don't know, maybe no, she was actually a year. I take that back. Millie was a year and a half. So things didn't work out with Millie. We had to, she was a year and a half. We had our first litter with her and Troy. So things didn't work out with Millie after she killed. It was a horse that was, I don't even know what happened there, but it was not our horse. It was actually a horse that was our friend's horse, and she was an old, elderly horse, and she killed her, and it was really sad. So we had to rehome. We had to rehome Millie. So we ended up giving her to another family who needed a dog and didn't have horses, obviously, right? So that's kind of how it's all started with the Mastiff. So for about 14 years, that's what we primarily focused on, was the Neapolitan Mastiffs. Then 6 years ago, Ivan decided he wanted a Cane Corso, and I was like, no, why do we need, no, I'm not trying to do Cane Corsos, why are we doing this? So, okay, check it out, y'all gotta see the turtles. I don't know if you can see the turtles right there. So there's 1, 2, 3 turtles on that log, and then there's some more turtles over here on this other log. It's pretty cool. You see those turtles? There's 3 of them. I wish I could zoom in. I don't think I can zoom in on this. Yeah, I can't zoom in on it. All right, well, anyhow. So this apparently is supposed to track my face. Yeah, it's tracking me. So that's kind of how everything started. We started with the Neapolitan Mastiffs. We retired all of them 2 years ago, and our Cane Corso program started building out for us, or evolving in the last 6 years. So what's been nice about this, having those 2 breeds, was we were able to compare and contrast, and they're both Italian Mastiffs. One of them just has more head, more neck, more skin, kind of like the bulldogs, and the other one is more agile, more sportier, less skin, and a whole different look. But so, as I was saying, the Cane Corsos have become our main hustle, and we love them. We love our Cane Corsos. They're beautiful, amazing dogs, but you got to know what you're doing when you're working with that breed. You really need to, you need to be able to put them in their place, because they're a big dog. They can do some damage if their bite force is I think it's a 500 psi. It's probably the strongest bite force in the world, and I think in some countries Cane Corsos are outlawed. So the Cane Corsos are, like I said, they're the security dog that we have, that we breed, and then we have my Yorkies. And my Yorkies are, like I said, it's a girly thing, I get to dress them up. They're my passion. I love my Yorkies. I brush them out. I've learned to groom them. I'm not professional yet. I wouldn't say I'm at that professional level, but as a result of learning how to groom them, use the clippers, my daughter's taught me some basics, how to use them, and I've done some YouTube university learning how to groom my Yorkies. I'm not perfect. I'm still learning every day. Every time I work with one of the Yorkies, I still, improve my skills. But it is time consuming. So main hustle is Cane Corsos, side hustle is Yorkies, and my Yorkies, it's a whole different clientele. So the Cane Corsos, I get 80% of my viewers for this channel was men, and men all over the world. And that was probably the primary reason why I just stopped posting, because I realized that I was disconnecting from the feminine side. And so I stopped posting to my YouTube channel because Audra Faith, Audra is my first name, Faith is my middle name. Audra Faith, men were coming to Audra Faith's channel to come see my Mastiffs, come see my Neapolitan Mastiffs and come see my Cane Corsos. And, my friends and my family, were like, where's the old Audra, where's the, just where did I go, right? So I kind of got lost for a long time in my little world, raising Noah. My daughter had already, she's in the last 10 years, she had already moved out and she became independent and trying to find her way through. And my oldest, had graduated and moved on as well. So for a long time it was Noah and I, and my little cocoon raising Noah was not easy. I was a teacher, and I learned a lot in the school setting. I became a special ed teacher, and Noah had ADHD, so he had his needs. So I did a lot for him, and that's really where my time and my energy went. It was into, at one point I ended up homeschooling him. So during the time that I had walked away from my teaching career, it had been 2 years since I'd gotten my master's degree to become a school principal. That's when I saw things, I saw things in the school that I did not approve or did not like of what was happening with my son. So, I walked away from my teaching career of 14 years, and luckily I was, I'm not one to never be unemployed. I'm always going to be generating some kind of income. So I was lucky, or not lucky, but blessed, because for about, I guess, 3 months, I had the opportunity to work that side gig, which was Plexus, I'm still part of Plexus here 10 years later. And I was making about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And I just won a trip to Disney and all this stuff. I was going up the ranks. It's a company that I really, really am. Also, I'm not going to sell something if I'm not passionate about it. And so I sold the health and wellness through Plexus. And so anyway, what happened was my principal had come to me, and she said she wanted me to go back to the classroom. At that time, I was a special ed teacher doing resource and inclusion for bilingual students in the elementary setting. And when she told me I needed to go back to the classroom because she needed me to go back and teach kindergarten, I was appalled. I said, no, do I have any other choices? And she said, no. And I said, no. Well, then I went home and I thought about it, and I knew right away. I was like, no, I'm not going back to the classroom. I spent my time, I'd paid my dues in the classroom. I'd spent 5-6 years in kindergarten, about 2 years in first grade, 4 years, I don't remember, I can't do the math, but it was about 3 or 4 years in pre-K, and doing bilingual ed, teaching twice. That career in that setting was way more stressful than my career when I worked corporate sales, Dell Computers, selling Dell computers. I made close to six figures selling computers, and had to turn in my stats, my statistics, my forecasted numbers to my managers. And like I said, I made more money at Dell than when I went to go teach. And when she asked me to go back to the classroom, I just said no. For that pay, no, this is like a no-brainer. This is not going to be worth my time or energy. So I don't remember how I got where my point is. Oh, I think it's past this. I remember we got past the boats. Yeah, there it is. It's up ahead. Anyway, when she asked me to come back to the classroom, I already knew. And I said, you know what? My kids are grown, except for Noah. Noah was a young kid. I'm married to Ivan. He's my husband, and he makes enough income to provide for us. And my little side gig at that time, which was network marketing with the health and wellness company, was taking off for me. And I said, you know what? I'm done with teaching. And I was so excited. Oh my God. When I went home and I told Ivan that what had happened, and I already knew what my decision was, he supported me. He said, okay, we'll get through this. And so I just knew that I was going to have to operate differently. And I was prepared, because I think my life, prior years, being a single mom, had prepared me for that moment. And that's why I left teaching. I left teaching because my principal gave me the opportunity to really think about it, and embrace see it as an opportunity. So since then, at that time, I was actually having 1 or 2 litters a year. And, we whenever I would have that little income from from the Mastiffs, I would just put it away. I would just save it in envelopes. I wouldn't deposit it or anything because I knew that if it went into the bank, it would get spent, on the debit card. So what I did was I took some advice from a friend of Ivan's. She was a lady, an immigrant from Colombia, and she cleaned houses. And I remember her always talking about how she had had some cosmetic work done, or she was going on a cruise. And I just thought, well, granted, she was married to an engineer, so I just thought her engineer husband paid for all of that. But when she started telling me her secret about, putting all her money, all her income into envelopes, and how she would budget, for projects or budget for whatever she wanted, because she wasn't going to ask her husband to pay for those things, because he was not really motivated or whatever. And she was very motivated. She had a lot of things she wanted to do in her life and goals she had. And so I just took her advice, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing. So I had already been putting the money that I was making from the puppy sales into envelopes, and I would just spread it out. And that's how I budgeted. I budgeted between that little income and then my health and wellness side hustle. And so, I learned to survive that first year walking away from my full-time job, and that's how I learned to budget. And at the same time, what that ended up doing for us, wow, that ended up being a blessing in disguise to my marriage, to Ivan, because I think at that point in time, we might have been in our 7-year, 8-year, that was 2014. So we got married in 2005, so do the math. What is that? 5 from 14? 7? 8? We were in our 8th year. And our marriage was actually being challenged because he was bringing his family over from Cuba. And they came to live with us, and just a lot of stuff was going on during that time. And I just saw a different side in my husband, where I saw he was living more for his family than for Noah and I. So when I forced him to be the main primary breadwinner, it forced me also to communicate with him more, because I'm so used to making my own income and providing, the way I want to provide, and not asking him for money. He put his money in. Did we have separate accounts? I don't remember if we had separate accounts or not, but I remember that, thinking that if we had separate accounts, we weren't completely being real to being one, in the marriage. And I remember I used to get so frustrated with him, because he would just, every time I turned around, he was spending his money. He was stopping at the store. He would buy his beer. He would buy whatever. He would just buy Noah drones. And I'm just like, why are you spending that money on Noah? Why are you buying him a $200 drone, and he's only 7 years old? And then the drone it was those remote control helicopters. Oh my God, don't even get me started. Noah had this thing for remote control helicopters. As soon as he would buy him that remote control helicopter, it wouldn't last but 15 minutes. I'm like, oh my God. So he was doing that kind of stuff. Then the other was, he was buying lotto tickets. So as soon as Ivan now becomes the primary breadwinner, it was forcing us to communicate, because now I have to ask him for money, or tell him, look, this is the budget for the month. This is the budget. This is what we need some groceries. We need this, whatever. I mean, it ended up being a big blessing to our marriage, because now it's forcing me to rely on him. And I'm not the type of person to ask my husband for money, right? I'm not the type of person to ask any man for money, even when I was single, right? I pay for my own stuff, right? I mean, I'm very independent that way. So, it ended up being a blessing, even though I could easily have looked at it as a slap in the face when she was not giving me the choice to stay in my role as a bilingual resource SPED teacher, right? So, that's kind of all how it went down, and it forced me to, learn to communicate with my husband. Forced me to budget better. just a lot of things. And I worked on that health and wellness business really hard the first 2 years, and then that's when I got into that frustrational point, and everything. It just didn't go. It didn't go. When I got to a certain level of income with that business, I realized that it wasn't going to go any further, and that was at the point when Jade said, "Mom, go with me." She was going through her stuff with her baby daddy. You know, she had had 3 miscarriages. She was in that process of trying to not force, but she was in a relationship with her boyfriend, and they had, you know, she had gotten pregnant, and then she lost the first baby, and then she lost the second baby, and whatever. And that's when she said, "Mom, go with me to the tarot card reader." And so we went to see a tarot card reader, and at that point, that all changed a lot of things for me. So anyhow, I have gotten to a long point in this video, and that's going to be the next video that I talk about, was when I got to that frustrational level with my income, with that side hustle, you know, and I wasn't wanting to go back to the classroom, and I wasn't going to go back to the classroom, but how I was going to continue to make it work with the income that I was making at that time. And yeah, so that'll be the next video. All right, if you stay with me this far, thank you for watching. If you have any comments or whatever, just please post that. And again, thank y'all for joining my channel and for staying with me this far. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.